How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is my regular Sunday blog, but this time I'm really disturbed and infuriated because I'm incensed. I think any normal person should be thoroughly disgusted with what they see happening in this country with this double standard between black and white. It's inexcusable to persecute people because they're black, and it's a sad chapter in American history that black people were always persecuted in this country till around 40, 50 years ago. But all of a sudden there's a turnaround, and this turnaround has more to do with vengeance and getting even for the past. And all of a sudden you could take advantage of the fact that black people feels that they've been disadvantaged too long and they've been taken advantage of too often, and that they've been persecuted throughout history, and now there's a kind of feeling of bitterness and frustration and hostility and a certain need to get even with white people. Vengeance is part of it, and that's why somebody like Nifong, this pig of a district attorney, one of the lowest pigs left on earth, could take advantage of the feeling that black people still feel like they suffer too long and they want to get even with white people, and he took advantage of that unfortunate need in black people to assert themselves at any expense of the white people. And all of a sudden there's so many black people who need that feeling that they could get even with whites. Why do you think a man like O.J. Simpson, who was so obviously guilty, when he was found innocent, O.J. Simpson, in that case, all of a sudden it was an excuse for dancing and singing and playing, and it was a huge, crazy celebration. It was like a major party when everybody knows that he killed those two people. Nobody doubts it. I don't think 90% of the black people even doubt it today. But there was a feeling of celebration because finally we got even with them, and that feeling is there now too, by a certain percentage of black people. And to take advantage of it, Nifong came along and created a whole fake, fraudulent story about those three white kids that he found so suspicious, so guilty, because a certain black girl who wasn't like these wonderful kids that Don Imus just insulted. This was a black girl who was a very sick, unfortunate soul, a pathetic, some kind of a, what was she? She was a congenital liar, a very sick person who was either drunk or polluted, or a miserable soul who has a whole history of being either drunk or deranged or defrauding people and manipulating people and lying to people. A very sick, sad kind of a person. And he took her word because he needed an excuse to win an election, because he said to himself, hey, a certain black person is running against me and I might lose the next election, so I had to take advantage of the black people's feeling of vengeance towards whites, and all of a sudden I could persecute these three white kids and prove to the black people that I'm on their side. And he took advantage of that feeling, the compounding by white guilt and black vengeance, and he said to himself, now I could win an election on this basis. So a whole fake case took place, and look how the white people of this country, who are so desperate to prove to black people that they're on their side, to prove that they're making up for the sins of the past, and the New York Times and other white people, the whole institution of the white press, the networks, all started to imply that these white kids are guilty before they had any evidence. They were so happy to find them guilty. These are privileged white people, the kind that have persecuted black people all their lives, they convinced themselves. Now they're making 18-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids guilty for the sins of the past that happened 40, 50, or 90 years ago. And they were thrilled to find an excuse to bury their lives. And they helped this Nifong, who created a fraudulent, sick, phony, fake case. And they wanted to help them destroy their lives. Do you know how sick and deranged this whole thing was? The white people, the whole established press of this country, are sick, guilt-ridden people. That's what they are. And they made three kids suffer and have to lose millions of dollars. And their lives are practically destroyed. They have to resurrect themselves now for the rest of their lives from that deranged thing that they did to them. Do you know what it is to have a 20-year sentence hanging over your head with the fear that possibly a jury might believe it when you know you're innocent and think that this is possible? The impact of this on your psyche could last the rest of your life, and you might never even be a normal person again. The white press, the New York Times, and people like them are disgusting, vulgar animals. It's about time they give up these sick, deranged complexes about trying to prove a point that you're looking for justice when you're just trying to get even with people. And they're helping any injustice that's about to take place towards white, any injustice, and they're making themselves partner in it. You know why? Because they're deranged now with hate towards their own white people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't protect the blacks. You should protect them as much as possible, and we owe them a great amount of love and loyalty. And we owe it to them to make up to them for all the sins and all the crimes we committed against them. But is this the way to do it? By picking out 3 innocent people and destroying their lives? And we should be helping them? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm talking to the New York Times and the ABCs and the CBS and NBC and all the networks. You're sick and nuts for doing this to them. If this was in reverse, and this was happening to black people, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, these 2 professional bigots, these 2 professional crusaders who are crusading even when there's nothing to crusade about, who would like to destroy white people's lives every day. They're all partners in this, but they're together with the white people. And you know what they're doing now? Now they're still claiming. Sharpton still claims today. There's no limit to his bigotry. This man who crusades supposedly for racial justice, he's still claiming that these 3 white people have a lot to account for because he knows for sure they did something wrong. Without any evidence, he makes these claims. He ought to be ashamed of himself, and everybody on his level ought to be ashamed of themselves. This is a disgusting chapter in American history. This is a new reverse discrimination that's just as ugly and disgusting as what happened to the black people before. Hello, did you hear, I forgot to mention, did you hear about my book called Schmucks, which I wrote with Raoul Felder, the famous divorce attorney? It's called Schmucks. It's already on top of the bestsellers list. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not on top, but it's already on the bestsellers list of the New York Times. And it's only out a week and a half, and people are running after this book in cellars and basements, on top of buildings, on the buses, in the streets, on corners, no matter where they are. They see this book, they can't get over it. Even if they didn't buy it, they keep hearing about it. You know why? Because we attack people from every direction that you don't know about. We give you revelations and information about all the sick characters in America and why we call them schmucks. I mean morons like Tom Cruise and maniacs like Rosie O'Donnell. And we tell you not what you read in the paper about them. We tell you the inside story of what they're really all about, what motivates them, who they're surrounded with them, what causes them to hate this country or hate themselves or become obnoxious and vulgar and crude and disgusting. Somebody like Madonna, we don't hate her, nothing to hate about her, but we tell you the whole story about how and why she developed the whole means of creating a personality for herself that's different every 10 minutes. She runs around like a murderer who just shot somebody and now has to hide her identity. One minute she's a sex maniac, the next day she's a religionist, the next day she tells you money is not important while she's doing a concert for $3 million, and all the reasons why she puts on a new face, a new morality, a new character every half an hour. But that's only the beginning. We have so many characters in this book, you'll never get over it. If you buy it, you'll be... It's too good, you know, nobody even deserves it.